Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. So glad you're with us from all over the world. We're so appreciative from wherever you are that you're joining us. You can always find us at goodlifetelevision.org, where all of the interviews that we've had some great guests, great people from all walks of life, from all over the world, some great stories. So you can find them all at goodlifetelevision.org, along with what we call power clips. You can also find us on all the social media platforms. So grateful to have my guest with me today from Prison Fellowship Ministry. James D'Amato and Audrey Fay are with me. Audrey is the regional director of the West Region, and James is director of field partner programs for Prison Fellowship. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Prison Fellowship was founded by Chuck Colson in 1976. It's been a very impactful ministry over decades, which I want to get to in a second. But I thought I'd start with kind of the situation, and James, maybe I'll start with you. Kind of give us a lay of the land for people who don't know about the prison system at all, the numbers, the statistics, the problem, I guess, as it were. Start by kind of laying out, pretending that somebody knows nothing about the situation you guys are trying to address. Give us a little bit of background and context.
Sure. Prison Fellowship is faith-based prison ministry where we go into, and we have various applications and programs within our organization, but primarily we go inside to minister to men and women that are incarcerated in various prisons across the U.S. Audrey, you want to add to some of the stuff that you're doing maybe with the academies?
Sure. So we have several programs that go on, but one of the premier programs is our academy program, where we are teaching individuals how to come out of prison and be good citizens. What does it mean to be a good citizen? And so we take them through about a 12 to 14 month program, and we're teaching and talking to them about various ways that they can change their mindset to be restored and transformed. And that's really what we do in a nutshell. If you look at our mission statement, it's to restore those affected by crime and incarceration. That's our mission always. Whether it's inside the prisons, working with those that are incarcerated, or also their families on the outside. We'll work with their families and their children to help build back that partnership between the parent and the child. It's very important to us to keep family relationships because we are faith-based centered.
Right. And I was reading some of the numbers that the United States currently nearly 2.2 million individuals are incarcerated. And the statistics that I found, that we found through your website, while more than 600,000 Americans are released from correctional facilities annually, 2/3 are rearrested within 3 years. How does the work you guys do combat that statistic, and how, what is kind of the vision that you have for working against this kind of vicious cycle that we see with incarceration?
Well, one of the things that we do is we structure our academy curriculum and programming to address the criminogenic issues that typical inmates face and prisoners face. And like Audrey said, it's built around creating good citizens, whether they get paroled or stay in the prison. And that's the goals. But there are different factors that we address and highlight within our curriculum and our programming that works on those issues: life skills, substance abuse, core issues that got them inside in the first place, stuff like that.
I think one thing that we do well, that we've really started doing really well, and that's where James comes in, is that we started to partner with organizations that are located outside the prisons to build those partnerships that we can then take from our programs that they've been engaged with and graduate from into an organization that will work with them on the outside to really acclimate them into the community and get them time to really see what it's like to be a different person and walk in a different way and form different relationships. And it really works well when they go to an organization like who we partnered with just lately, Salvation Army. So when they partnership with those and they go to those programs that are 6 to 12 months long, it really helps further that space, or not at all, the recidivism rate that happens. And that's one of the things I think that we're starting to really venture into. I know James probably talked a lot more about that, but I think that's what makes it even more profound, with especially what's going on in California, with really rehabilitation being so prominent, and really being about how are we going to really help and make change with individuals who have addictive behaviors, because that's a lot of incarceration. And so I think that's one thing we do really well, and it's really, I think it's going to pay off strongly in our future.
Yeah, that's a strong point that she's making, because we believe that reentry begins the first day they get inside. So, the academy is built to help them, give them the tools and some deal with issues that will reduce recidivism rates getting back in, by giving them some sound life skills and principles. One of the other things that a lot of parolees are faced with is substance abuse issues. And we have a national partnership with Celebrate Recovery, which is an outside organization that was started at Saddleback Church. So what we do is we partner with them in putting actual Celebrate Recovery programming inside the academy, as well as Celebrate Recovery has a lot of times their own programs running in different areas of the institutions as well. But what we do there is the way we're training the leaders, that when they get out of Celebrate Recovery, they'll have dealt with a lot of their substance abuse issues, anger issues, whatever hurts, habits, and hangups they have. And then they can immediately get linked to a Celebrate Recovery that's outside, which links them directly to a church. And that helps the reentry process as well.
Wow. That's wonderful. I think everybody in the world could use Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah, design, everybody looks at it at that, when they hear recovery, they think about drugs and alcohol, but Celebrate Recovery encompasses pretty much every hurt, habit, and hang up that's out there. So
yeah, right.
Built
we're all recovering from something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And some of us have multiple issues too.
Right. And real quick before I go on, can people volunteer? I mean, I'm assuming they can. If somebody wanted to get involved with Prison Fellowship and they said, I'd love to, serve in some way, how do they do that?
So they can go to our website, prisonfellowship.org, click on volunteer, the button at the top, it's right there, very easy. It says click on volunteer. And then you can select the various departments that you would like to volunteer in. So it'll say in prison, we have an advocacy department. And so there's different ways that individuals that have a passion for helping the justice involved to be able to partner with us and volunteer. If it's prison, it'll go to one of my field directors in California, if they're in California, and then someone reaches out to them and contacts them, takes them through an application process. And then we also have a very in-depth training video lessons that we have them watch in order for them to get familiar with what it's like to go inside a prison.
Wow. So that's the way in is through the website.
Yep.
Talk for a minute about what you guys do with children. I was fascinated to read a little bit about the way you guys are impacting the children of incarcerated folks.
Right.
It seems to me that one of the consequences, downsides, whatever, of incarceration is that it can then lead to another fatherless generation, fatherless situation, or motherless, but it could lead to, it can kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense, because you took away the parent. And so now we have a child who's maybe more likely to repeat that cycle. So talk a little bit about the vision that you have for children of those who are incarcerated.
Yeah, what we have there is what we call the Angel Tree program, and that's designed to give a Christmas gift, the gospel, and link the family of the incarcerated to through a local church or a Celebrate Recovery that's doing Angel Tree, but that gives them the link. And what happens is the actual incarcerated person will fill out an application, listing the name of the child, but also give information on, what they think they might want to receive. And that gift actually is shown to come from that person instead of an outsider. So it's really it's kind of an extension gift from the inside the inmate to the family, to the kids.
Angel Tree. So if a church was watching this and they were interested in participating, they could sign up to become an Angel Tree partner. Is that how it works?
Correct.
Yes. Go to the same website, prisonfellowship.org, click on Angel Tree, and it'll provide all the information for you to sign up right online.
Okay.
I think the numbers, Deaton, last year were around 320,000 kids that were serviced with, that were given gifts from their mom or dads that are incarcerated.
Wow.
So one thing we like to emphasize is it does start with Christmas. It starts with the incarcerated parent filling out an application, which is really starting to begin now inside prisons. We usually have applications between May and August going out so we can service as many parents as we can. But it starts with the gift at Christmas, but it's really designed to be a year-round program where we're working with the children after we've serviced them with the gift to really help strengthen the relationship between the mother or the father and the child and their family. And so some of the things that we do to encourage that relationship or keep that child strong, because you did ask about the whole cycle of parents being incarcerated and then you have a child that's incarcerated, is our programs that happen like our sports camps and our other camps that we have that we can send these children to so that they can get informed about how it is to look and act differently, but also introduce them to Christ. They may have never been introduced to Christ before. And we all know that when we have Christ in our life, things change dramatically for us because of his unconditional love. So it's one process. It starts with the gift, but it's so much more than that. It's really about restoring this child in every way we can and strengthening their family.
That's beautiful. Restoration is such a powerful thing. I mean, and it's something that when you see it, it's beautiful. Talk a little bit about the work that is done with wardens. I was reading a little bit about that there's some kind of a partnership program or something that goes on where you guys are actually working with the wardens. Is that true?
Yeah.
It's called the Warden Exchange. And that I'm not too, I don't work directly with that department or with that group, but what they do is they are wardens and superintendents get together as a group. They register as a group, and I think it's for a complete year, where they go through actual programming training, and then just kind of working together of like sharing what's working in their facilities versus what's not working, and they share those experiences together to help them be better at rehabilitation and transformation. It's one of our stronger programs, and I'm not sure how long ago it started, but it's a very active organization now that we have quite a few wardens that have been through it, and the list is always long and for the current year of registrations to get involved.
Wow.
Yeah, so then we have the Wardens Exchange has two facets. They have an in-person one that they can go to, and they meet quarterly, or they also have, and that goes for 12 months. And then there's also an additional one where they can do it online, and it goes for 9 months. So we offer it two different ways. Obviously, the online one's been much more popular since the pandemic.
Right.
But I think we have 4 or 5 wardens from the state of California going through it right now.
Wow. Do you guys have any idea how many lives or, prison fellowship impacts between those incarcerated, the families? Do you have any statistics on that, like in a given year? Do you know?
It's well, one statistic I can give you, and it's kind of it happened through COVID, since the onset of COVID, and actually Audrey and I were totally involved in what we now call Floodlight. California Department of Corrections had asked Audrey to, when COVID came down, they pretty much locked down the facilities, so they had no access to go to classes anymore, or in-person classes. So they came to us and said, "Hey, is there a way you could provide digital content that can be piped through their TV systems to the incarcerated?" And so we came up in a very short time, actually, I think it was like 11 weeks, we came up with what's now called Floodlight, where I reached out to the external partners that we had for curriculum partners in the academy, and started receiving digital videos and applications that we could download and have access, give CDCR access to in California. And we set that up, and it just took off. So we felt, well, why limit it to just California? So we opened it up for the United States. And right now there's 48 states using Floodlight, about 380 institutions, and it's hitting about almost 600,000 inmate viewers are viewing all the materials that are on there. And
Wow.
it's everything from core curriculum that we were using in our academies to movies, to sports figures and interviews and podcasts, and a lot of different artists that put together programs that we videotaped and put on that they can download and access. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and that number, I mean, that's over 500,000. But I'm not sure what the number is, that we touch every year, but I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah. And for those people that don't know, I'm just assuming people do, but I shouldn't do that. Everything we're talking about here, this was all born out of Chuck Colson, who was a transformed man, famously went to prison after the Watergate situation and became a transformed person. And it was his experience in prison that is the reason you guys are sitting here and we're talking about this right now. That in itself, talk about a redemptive story.
Yes.
In fact, I'm sitting in my office, I'm looking at a book on my bookshelf by Chuck Colson right over there. But talk about a redemptive story just by itself, that here's a guy that Chuck Colson was a, how should I say this, hard charger in his early political years before he knew God, and then goes to prison after Watergate, becomes a transformed person, and founds Prison Fellowship. And here you guys are now touching millions of lives. What a story. I was reading it in your material today, but sometimes I think we can forget, I think a lot of people of faith are thinking about how they can, feed people, or, clothe people, or, care for people that are just among us here. But we can't forget about, I think it's the 6th category or whatever, to fit 5 out of 5 or 6 out of the 6th category is remember those in prison. So easy to forget. And you guys are helping us not to forget. So we appreciate it. Thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you for having us.
And for people who are interested in supporting Prison Fellowship, I encourage you to look them up. Prison Fellowship is the ministry founded by Chuck Colson in 1976. They do great work all around the country in lots of prisons, touching lots of lives. So we appreciate it. Thank you guys. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.